Echoes of Abandonment, The Haunting of Maplewood High School. Part 1, The Invitation. Nestled amidst the dense woods of a forgotten town stood Maplewood High School, its once vibrant halls now echoing with the whispers of a tragic past. Abandoned for decades, it loomed like a silent sentinel, its windows shattered, its corridors swallowed by darkness. It was said that Maplewood High held secrets darker than the shadows that clung to its crumbling walls. Tales of mysterious disappearances and unexplained phenomena swirled among the locals like a chilling mist. But for the brave, or perhaps foolhardy, few, these stories only added to the allure of the forsaken institution. Among those intrigued was Sarah, a thrill-seeker with an insatiable curiosity for the macabre. For weeks, she had been consumed by the idea of exploring Maplewood High, drawn to its eerie presence like a moth to a flame. And on a moonless night, she finally gathered the courage to venture into its forgotten depths. With a backpack slung over her shoulder and a flashlight clenched tightly in her hand, Sarah approached the imposing entrance of the school. The air was thick with a palpable sense of foreboding, but she pushed aside her apprehension, driven by a desire to unravel the mysteries that lay within. As she stepped across the threshold, the stale scent of decay assaulted her senses, sending a shiver down her spine. The beam of her flashlight danced across the dilapidated foyer, revealing peeling paint and cracked tiles beneath her feet. Every creak echoed like a haunting melody, a reminder of the school's forgotten past. Ignoring the creeping sense of unease, Sarah pressed on, her footsteps echoing through the empty halls like whispers of the dead. She passed by rows of abandoned lockers, their doors hanging open like gaping maws, and decaying classrooms frozen in time. It wasn't long before she stumbled upon the entrance to the school's basement, a yawning abyss beckoning her to descend into its depths. Without hesitation, Sarah made her way down the narrow staircase, her heart pounding in her chest with each step. As she reached the bottom, the darkness seemed to engulf her, suffocating her senses in its inky embrace. But Sarah refused to be deterred, her resolve hardened by the thrill of the unknown. Then, just as she began to explore the shadowy expanse, a faint whisper echoed through the darkness, sending a chill down her spine. It was a voice, barely audible yet unmistakably human, calling out to her from the depths of the abyss. Sarah. Startled, she froze in place, her breath catching in her throat. She scanned the darkness frantically, her flashlight trembling in her hand. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice echoing through the silent void. But there was no response, only the oppressive silence of the abandoned basement. With a trembling hand, Sarah took a hesitant step forward, her heart pounding in her chest like a drumbeat of dread. Little did she know, her journey into Maplewood High had only just begun, and the horrors that awaited her in its forsaken halls would defy comprehension. Part 2, Whispers in the Dark. As Sarah descended further into the bowels of Maplewood High School, the darkness seemed to grow thicker, swallowing the feeble beam of her flashlight. Every step she took echoed like a thunderclap in the silent abyss, her senses heightened to the eerie stillness that surrounded her. Despite the growing sense of unease gnawing at her, Sarah pressed on, driven by a morbid curiosity that refused to be quenched. With each passing moment, the whispers grew louder, their disembodied voices echoing through the shadows like a haunting lament. Sarah. The voice was closer now, its spectral timbre sending shivers down her spine. She could feel eyes watching her from the darkness, unseen and malevolent. "Who's there?" she called out again, her voice trembling with fear. But once more, there was no reply, only the oppressive silence of the abandoned basement. Determined to uncover the source of the mysterious whispers, Sarah forged ahead, her footsteps echoing through the darkness like a dirge of despair. It wasn't long before she stumbled upon a series of winding corridors, their walls adorned with faded posters and peeling paint. As she navigated the labyrinthine maze, the whispers grew louder, their insidious words worming their way into her mind like tendrils of darkness. "You shouldn't have come here, Sarah." The voice was unmistakably human, tinged with a hint of malice that sent a chill down her spine. She could feel the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end as she quickened her pace, desperate to escape the suffocating embrace of the shadows. But no matter how fast she ran, the whispers followed, their haunting cadence echoing through the empty halls like a harbinger of doom. Driven to the brink of madness by the relentless torment, Sarah stumbled upon a door hidden at the end of a forgotten corridor, its surface coated in grime and decay. With trembling hands, she pushed it open, revealing a chamber shrouded in darkness. As she stepped into the gloom, the whispers reached a fever pitch, their voices swirling around her like a maelstrom of madness. "Welcome to Maplewood High, Sarah. You'll never leave." With a scream that echoed through the abandoned halls, Sarah realized too late the true horror that awaited her in the depths of the forsaken school. Part 3: The Ghosts of Maplewood High. As Sarah stood frozen in terror, the whispers seemed to materialize into tangible forms, swirling around her like phantoms cloaked in darkness. Their icy breath brushed against her skin, sending a chill down her spine as she struggled to comprehend the horror unfolding before her. In the dim light of her flickering flashlight, Sarah caught glimpses of shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the chamber, their eyes gleaming with malevolent intent. They were the ghosts of Maplewood High, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead, forever bound to the forsaken halls they once called home. Desperate to escape the spectral onslaught, Sarah turned to flee, but the door she had entered through was gone, swallowed by the darkness that now surrounded her. Panic surged through her veins like wildfire as she realized she was trapped at the mercy of forces beyond her comprehension. With nowhere left to run, Sarah found herself drawn deeper into the heart of the abandoned school, her footsteps echoing through the silent corridors like a funeral dirge. The whispers followed her every move, their haunting cries driving her to the brink of madness. It wasn't long before Sarah stumbled upon a decrepit staircase leading further into the depths of Maplewood High, its steps worn and crumbling beneath her feet. With no other option but to press on, she descended into the darkness, her heart pounding in her chest with each passing moment. As she reached the bottom of the staircase, Sarah found herself standing in a vast chamber shrouded in darkness. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the silent void. With trepidation, Sarah raised her flashlight, illuminating the chamber with its feeble glow. What she saw sent a shiver down her spine, a sprawling network of tunnels snaking their way through the earth like the veins of some long-forgotten beast. Realization dawned on her like a bolt of lightning. Maplewood High held secrets far darker than she could have ever imagined. And as she delved deeper into the labyrinthine depths of the abandoned school, she knew that uncovering the truth would come at a price. Part 4: The Forgotten Experiment. With trembling hands, Sarah navigated the labyrinthine tunnels beneath Maplewood High, her flashlight casting long shadows that danced upon the damp walls. Each step she took echoed through the darkness like a mournful lament, a stark reminder of the horrors that lurked in the depths below. As she ventured further into the subterranean maze, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Every shadow seemed to twist and contort, taking on grotesque shapes that sent shivers down her spine. But despite her growing unease, she pressed on, driven by a determination to uncover the truth behind the forsaken school. It wasn't long before Sarah stumbled upon a series of makeshift laboratories hidden deep within the bowels of Maplewood High. The air was thick with the acrid scent of chemicals, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the dimly lit chambers. With a sense of trepidation, Sarah approached one of the rusted metal tables that lined the walls, its surface littered with decaying equipment and tattered notebooks. As she sifted through the debris, her eyes fell upon a journal bound in cracked leather, its pages yellowed with age. With bated breath, Sarah flipped open the cover, revealing faded ink scrawled across the brittle parchment. What she read sent a chill down her spine, a record of sinister experiments conducted in secret beneath the school's crumbling facade. According to the journal, Maplewood High had once been home to a clandestine government project known only as Project Elysium. Its purpose, to unlock the secrets of the human mind through the use of experimental drugs and psychological conditioning. But as Sarah delved deeper into the journal's pages, she uncovered a darker truth, one that sent shockwaves of horror coursing through her veins. It seemed that Project Elysium had not only pushed the boundaries of ethical science, but had crossed into the realm of the forbidden, dabbling in dark arts that defied comprehension. Driven by a morbid curiosity, Sarah continued to read, her mind reeling with the implications of what she had discovered. But as she reached the final entry, her blood ran cold. A warning, penned in frantic handwriting, urging whoever found the journal to flee before it was too late. With a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach, Sarah realized that she was not alone in the depths of Maplewood High. And as the shadows closed in around her, she knew that escaping the horrors that lurked within would be no easy task. Part 5. The Unearthly Presence. Sarah's heart raced as she absorbed the chilling revelations of the journal she had discovered in the depths of Maplewood High. The corridors of the abandoned school seemed to close in around her, suffocating her with their oppressive darkness. But despite the overwhelming sense of dread that gripped her, Sarah knew that she couldn't turn back now. The truth behind Project Elysium lay within her grasp, and she was determined to uncover the full extent of its horrors. With the journal clutched tightly in her hand, Sarah pressed on, her footsteps echoing through the silent corridors like a death knell. Every shadow seemed to twist and contort, taking on sinister shapes that sent shivers down her spine. As she delved deeper into the labyrinthine depths of Maplewood High, Sarah's senses were assailed by strange phenomena, a chill wind that whispered through the halls, unseen footsteps that echoed in the darkness, and an overwhelming sense of being watched by unseen eyes. But despite the mounting terror that threatened to consume her, Sarah pressed on, her determination unyielding. With each passing moment, the whispers grew louder, their haunting cries driving her to the brink of madness. Then, as she rounded a corner, Sarah stumbled upon a chamber shrouded in darkness, a vast cavern hidden beneath the school's crumbling facade. In the center of the chamber stood an ancient altar, its surface adorned with arcane symbols and faded runes. With a sense of trepidation, Sarah approached the altar, her heart pounding in her chest. What she found there sent a chill down her spine, a swirling vortex of darkness that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. As she gazed into the abyss, Sarah felt a presence stirring within her, a primal force that threatened to consume her very soul. With a gasp, she realized the true nature of the horrors that lurked within Maplewood High, the restless spirits of those who had been subjected to the experiments of Project Elysium, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. With a newfound sense of urgency, Sarah knew that she had to put an end to the nightmare that had consumed Maplewood High once and for all. But as she prepared to confront the unearthly presence that lurked within the depths of the abandoned school, she realized that the true horror was yet to come. Part 6. Confrontation with the Unseen. Sarah stood before the swirling vortex of darkness, her pulse pounding in her ears as she braced herself for what lay ahead. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, and the whispers of the restless spirits echoed through the chamber like a haunting melody. With a trembling hand, Sarah reached into her backpack and retrieved a vial of liquid she had found among the remnants of Project Elysium's experiments. It was a potent concoction, rumored to have been used to bind the spirits to the earthly realm, a last resort to contain the horrors that had been unleashed. As she uncorked the vial, Sarah could feel the eyes of the unseen presence upon her, their gaze burning into her very soul. With a deep breath, she poured the contents of the vial into the swirling vortex, watching as the darkness recoiled with a deafening roar. For a moment, the chamber was consumed by blinding light, and Sarah shielded her eyes from the searing brightness. When she dared to look again, she saw that the vortex had dissipated, leaving behind only a sense of eerie calm. But as she breathed a sigh of relief, a voice echoed through the darkness, a guttural, otherworldly sound that sent a chill down her spine. "You cannot contain us, mortal," it hissed, its words dripping with malice. "We are eternal." With a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach, Sarah realized that she had underestimated the power of the unseen presence that lurked within Maplewood High. It was a force beyond her comprehension, a malevolent entity that defied all attempts at containment. Determined to banish the darkness once and for all, Sarah knew that she had to confront the source of the horrors that had consumed the abandoned school. With a steely resolve, she steeled herself for the battle that lay ahead, knowing that the fate of Maplewood High, and perhaps the world itself, hung in the balance. As she prepared to face the ultimate evil that lurked within the forsaken halls, Sarah knew that the final showdown would test her courage, her strength, and her very humanity. Part 7. The Final Confrontation. With resolve hardening in her heart, Sarah faced the darkness that loomed within Maplewood High. The whispers of the restless spirits echoed through the chamber, their spectral voices swirling around her like a cacophony of despair. As she prepared to confront the malevolent entity that lurked within the abandoned school, Sarah drew upon every ounce of courage within her. With a steadying breath, she stepped forward, her eyes ablaze with determination. "You may be eternal," she declared, her voice ringing with defiance, "but so is the power of the human spirit." At her words, the darkness recoiled, its form shifting and contorting as if in agony. But still, it refused to yield, its malevolent presence pulsating with an otherworldly energy. Undeterred, Sarah reached into her backpack and retrieved the last remaining vial of the potent concoction she had discovered among the remnants of Project Elysium. With a steady hand, she hurled the vial into the heart of the darkness, watching as it shattered upon impact. For a moment, the chamber was consumed by blinding light, and Sarah shielded her eyes from the searing brightness. When she dared to look again, she saw that the darkness had begun to dissipate, its form unraveling like a tapestry of shadows. But even as the malevolent entity weakened, it lashed out with one final, desperate act of defiance. With a deafening roar, it unleashed a torrent of dark energy, threatening to consume everything in its path. In that moment, Sarah knew that she had only one chance to banish the darkness once and for all. Drawing upon the strength of her will, she focused every fiber of her being into a single, powerful thought, a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching despair. "You are not welcome here," she proclaimed, her voice ringing with authority. "This is our world, and you have no power here." At her words, the darkness faltered, its form flickering like a dying flame. With a final, anguished cry, it dissipated into nothingness, leaving behind only a lingering sense of peace. As the echoes of the final confrontation faded into the darkness, Sarah knew that the nightmare that had consumed Maplewood High had finally come to an end. With a weary smile, she turned and made her way back to the surface, leaving behind the forsaken halls and the horrors that had once lurked within. But as she emerged into the light of day, Sarah knew that the memories of her ordeal would stay with her forever, a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome even the darkest of shadows. And though Maplewood High would remain a haunting reminder of the horrors that had unfolded within its walls, Sarah vowed that its legacy would serve as a warning to those who dared to delve too deeply into the mysteries of the unknown. For in the end, it was not the darkness that defined Maplewood High, but the light that shone in the face of unspeakable evil, a beacon of hope in a world consumed by fear. The end.